Hi, how's it going? Welcome to a new Houdini tutorial. So in this video we're going to talk about minerals and crystals. And minerals are such an amazing topic to talk about. I just love them so much. They look amazing. They're pretty easy to create, especially with Houdini. And yeah, once you get the hang of it, it's just normal modeling. It's very simple. All right, so before moving on to the actual setup, let's analyze this image. I think analyzing renders is actually very important and very helpful because we get to see what's happening in here, and then if you come across an image that you like, you can just analyze it and recreate it. All right, so we have a shape. These are clearly some boxes that have been copied onto some points. We have some cracks happening in here, and we're going to achieve that using Boolean shatter. We have these tiny crystals, and they look nice. There are very many different techniques that you can use to achieve this. And yeah, that's it. You can see these parts are fused together, so these are not just some random boxes. They've been turned into VDBs and changed back into polygons, so they look connected. And we have this simple mountain node on top of this kind of sphere, which gives us the rocky look. Let's talk about the lighting. We have a light in the background, which is giving us this nice rim light happening in here. Or these parts. We have a light on the right side, which is giving us these highlights. We have a light in the left side, which is giving us this color, this highlight in here, and these highlights, something like this. All right, and then we have a light on top, which is giving us this volumetric look. In the background, you can see it's kind of foggy. And I added this bloom effect in here as well, and it's helping with the render. I also made a bunch of other colors, which I really liked, especially this one looks like a kryptonite, and I also really like this one. All right, let's talk about gathering reference images. So there's this website, mindat.org, probably stands for mineral data. There are a lot of data in here. Like you can just search names. You can just randomly read the articles. That there are a lot of stuff happening in here. For my render, I chose two different minerals. First one, hydroxyapophyllite K, which is a very hard word to pronounce. I used it for this shape. You can see I have boxes in my render, and they kind of look similar. I really like that. I didn't like the color, so I chose another mineral, Villiaumite, for the color. Now let's take a look at the gallery. I really like this image. I used this one for the reference when I was modeling. These are amazing. I really like the way they look. And this is the Villiaumite, which is also really interesting. By the way, Villiaumite is toxic, so if you come across one of these in nature, don't touch it. And let's take a look at this page, for example, for hydroxyapophyllite. And if we scroll down, we come across this optical data, and we have this RI values. And this is actually refractive index, or as we like to call it in 3D, index of refraction, or IOR, which is gonna, it means when light hits your surface, it's gonna break, and then it's gonna exit, and this is gonna give us the angle, basically. And it's a very important parameter when you're setting up your render engine, and it's gonna help with the physical accuracy. All right. I use this software called PureRef for gathering my reference images. I use this website and Google and gather some references. I'm going to use this one for the shape, and then you can see I have a bunch of other references here for the Villiaumite. And as you can see, the Villiaumite minerals are not actually angular like this. In my render, they're just random, but in nature, they don't, like basically the orientation is just gonna stay the same. So if you want to go for a more physically correct version of Villiaumite, don't randomize the orientation, but I kind of like this look, so I'm just gonna mix them up. All right, let's take a look at my setup, and then we're gonna start from scratch. So I have some lights here. I have some unused light, which is like a light dome. I was experimenting with it. Let's talk about the mineral, our main object. And by the way, these are just some random mountain nodes here, just for the background, and like for this stone, it's not really important. Let's dive in. This is our setup. It might look complicated, but it really isn't. We have this part, which we generate our main shape, and then we scatter some points on it. We scatter these boxes, as you can see, and then I'm just gonna do some Boolean shattering in here, and then I'm gonna do some pyrotechnics and scatter these points and basically use them for the crystals. I also made a very simple visualization for myself, which helps a lot, and it's very fast because it's just using very low poly version of this setup, and it's very fast. You can clearly see here, and I use this for deciding which frame I like. I kind of like this, the 18th frame, and then I'm just gonna visualize that. I have different materials nodes here. I added a switch and I added color to them, so whenever I change it, I know which material I'm using. You can do this switching, by the way, in your material tab, but I kind of prefer to do it in here. And yeah, that's it. As you can see, it's pretty simple. All right, I'm just gonna put this on the side, and we are going to start from scratch. All right, so I'm just gonna put down a geometry node and dive inside. I'm gonna put down a sphere. I'm gonna reshape it a little bit, maybe something like this. I'm gonna rotate it and I'm gonna put it on the side, something like this. I'm gonna copy that, and I'm just gonna merge them together. Let's move this one. I'm gonna move it, for example, in here. Rotate this. Oh, there are a lot of cars in the background. I don't like that. I'm gonna bring it, for example, here. Make it smaller. Yeah, this looks good. I'm just gonna copy this one more time. Add it in here. I'm gonna revert these back to the default. Again, let's make this part, I don't know, taller. Make this part smaller. Bring it to the side. And yeah, something like this, for example. Doesn't really matter. We're gonna add so many things on top. Okay. And I'm gonna put down a VDB from polygons. And the resolution is fine, but you can bring it up. I'm just gonna add a smooth SDF and smooth this a little bit. Yeah, looks good. And then convert VDB, convert it back to polygons. Okay, gonna add a mountain node. Play with the values. Maybe bring the roughness down. And yeah, this looks good. I like this. The shape is not actually really important because we're just gonna use this for scattering. It doesn't matter if we're getting these intersections here. If you want to be too clean, you can just repeat this process in here. I'm just going to put down a transform node, and I'm going to bring it here. Okay, yeah, this looks nice. I like this. Right, I'm just going to put down a ISO offset. I'm going to bring the uniform sampling divisions up to 100, so I get a very high quality version of it. And I'm just going to scatter some points. Let's go with 25 for now. I'm going to put down a box in here. Before that, let's just save it. Tutorials, Villiaumite crystal. Alright, I have this box, and then we're gonna add a copy to points. Let's take a look. Yeah, looks pretty good. I'm gonna put down a attribute randomize and randomize my p-scale. Bring the dimensions to 1, and I want it to be between 0.75 and 1.25. Alright, yeah, this is good. I'm going to put another attribute randomize, and I'm going to randomize the n, and I'm going to do it inside the sphere. Alright, and you can just play with the seed on your scatter node to get something you like. Let's see. Kind of like this one. I think it looks good. Yeah, let's go with this one. Alright. Now I want to have some details in here, so I'm just gonna come to my box. I'm gonna use this box. I'm gonna copy it and scatter some points. Again, do the same procedure as I'm doing in here. Just turn it into an ISO offset, and we don't need to have like 150 is enough. I'm gonna scatter some points. I'm gonna scatter like 250. I'm gonna copy to point, put down a copy to points node, something like this, and I'm gonna use that. Great, this looks really good. I do want to make this one smaller. Maybe something like this. I want to play with the dimensions, so maybe just make it a little bigger on this side, maybe make it a little smaller. And you can put down attribute randomize in here as well. So let's randomize the p-scale, and let's go between 0.8 and 1.2. Right, yeah, this looks pretty good for a main shape. I'm gonna turn this into a VDB again, and we need to bring this value way down, the voxel size, because we want a very high quality and very high resolution version of this. And it's gonna take some time. It's gonna calculate this. 30% done, 45% done, and yeah, okay. Oh, this looks really good. Awesome. Cool. I'm gonna add a smooth SDF node. Smooth this a little bit, like this. Great. And convert it to a VDB. Convert it to a polygon. All right. Down a null in here. I'm gonna call this out base shape. Okay. Actually, let's just add a mountain node in here as well, because it's too smooth right now, and this is way too much. 0.005 maybe. Let's see. probably too small, so 0.01. Yeah, this is good. I just want a little bit of like this effect that's happening in here. I don't want it to be too smooth. As you can see, before that it was a little smooth, but now it is better. I'm also going to play with this element size and bring it down a little bit, and it's good. I'm just going to offset it as well. Right, yeah, this is... Oh, I went in the negative section. I'm just gonna put the manual. All right. Okay, this is good. I like this. And let's also add normals in case something wrong with them. Looks good. All right. Now we're gonna have a bunch of different ways to go. We're gonna create our shattering effect on this side, and we're gonna go with some pyrotechnics on this side for generating the small crystals. Okay, and by the way, don't worry about pyro, it's gonna be very simple. Again, I'm gonna create an ISO offset in here. I'm gonna do the shattering effect first. Bring this to 50. Yeah, 50 is good enough. I'm gonna scatter 5 points. Maybe let's go with 7, but I think 5 is enough. I'm gonna put down a grid, and I'm just gonna do a couple points. As you can see, they're not gonna be very interesting. I'm just gonna put down a attribute randomize, again, randomize the n value, and do inside sphere. All right, take a look at our shape. It's covering everything. Maybe make these a little bit bigger, and so we're sure that we're gonna get the result that we want. I'm just gonna copy this parameter, paste a relative reference in here, and just bring the rows and columns to a higher value. Let's say 100. I'm gonna put down a mountain node, make the element size bigger, and play with this value. Okay, I like this. And I'm just gonna put down a Boolean node. So bool shatter, and in here I'm gonna go to set B, which is going to be coming from this side, and change it to surface, because the first one, our first input right now, it's a geometry, but our second input is a surface. And I'm gonna save it because shattering is not the fastest node. So let's make sure if we get any crashes, we have our project saved. Hopefully we're not gonna have any problems. All right. Wow, awesome. Take a look on the inside, and these are our intersections. It's pretty clean. I'm pretty happy. It's actually better than my own setup. That's great. And we're done in here. I'm just gonna add normals. I'm gonna put down a null in here. I'm gonna call it out shattered geo, and maybe actually create a group node in here as well. I'm gonna stay in the primitives and call it main geo group. I'm gonna use this group for shading. All right, so let's take a look at how to do the tiny crystals. Again, we're gonna scatter some points. And okay, so basically before scattering, let's talk about pyro. I'm gonna use the pyro source. What I'm going to do here is creating a very simple pyro spread, like an infection spread, which if you've seen my channel, I have a video there, infected system, and it's the trailer for the channel, and it's the same technique. I'm gonna use a pyro source. Pyro source. And we have too many points right now, so I'm just gonna, instead of using the keep input, I'm gonna go with surface scatter. And I used 0.03 in my setup, so let's just stick to that. Yeah, looks good. I'm going to hit this plus button in here and go to temperature, and we want the temperature attribute, but I want to set it to 0. So we have this attribute in our simulation, but it's set to 0. Now, what I want to do is activating a couple of these points and add a value of 1 to them. So in some parts of our setup, we have a temperature of 1, which is going to be the highest temperature, and we're going to have a value of 0, and then use those points with the value of 1 to spread the infection. Okay, so in order to create that, I need a group, and in order to create some, I want to use the bounding regions and the bounding object. It has to be a point, and I'm going to say start group. Now I need to connect something to the second input, so I'm going to scatter some points. Let's say, let's go with 5 points. I'm going to put down a sphere. I'm going to copy points, and I'm going to connect this. And our spheres are way too big right now, so let's bring it down to 0.1. Pretty good. And yeah, let's just create an attribute. We're gonna type attribute create. I'm gonna set it to start group, and I'm gonna type temperature. So if I, and at the value of 1. So if I visualize this temperature node, as you can see in these points, which we copied from our spheres, where is it? Our spheres. We have this value of 1, and we're going to use that. And let me put down a pyro spread. Okay, we're going to take a look at temperature. We're going to bring this cooling rate to 0.35. Let's see, and yeah, our infection is spreading. You can use this for many different techniques. I really like to change the diffusion. By the way, if you hit the diffusion tab, you can see what's happening in here. And I like to change it to alligator. Gives us a very nice look. I really like that. I'm gonna bring the element size down a little bit, and parts that are purple, they're not gonna get infected. Maybe offset it a little bit. And yeah, let's take a look at temperature again. Yeah, it's much more interesting now. Right, I'm gonna put down a group expression. I'm gonna call it I don't know, infected group. Doesn't really matter. And I'm gonna use an attribute which is being created by this pyro spread. We have a lot of attributes in here. Let me actually show you as you're visualizing them. Right now we're visualizing the temperature, but we have a total burn attribute, and we also have a burn. We're gonna use this burn attribute and basically select, let's say 2 points. We're gonna select our burn wherever it's equal to 1. We're gonna select those points. Looks good. You just type an expression in here. You remember to use 2 equals. And I'm just gonna blast this infected group and delete non-selected. All right, we have our points. Now, you can just use an object in here and just copy them. It doesn't really matter, but I am going to actually use another technique with the pop network. So combining a Pyrospread and the popnet. So let's just dive inside. In here, I'm gonna first of all, let's just disable the guides. I'm gonna use points. I'm not gonna use all points. I'm just gonna use some of them. And you can just come to the birth tab and play with this value. I think in my setup I used 2000. So something like this. Okay, yeah, this looks pretty good. I'm gonna put down a pop grains. And if I just play this, you can see they're just going crazy. I don't want that. I want to see some clumping. So let's take a look now. And they're sticking to each other, but they're going crazy. First of all, I'm gonna uncheck this assume uniform radius. It's gonna help with the setup. Then I'm gonna add in pop wrangle. I'm gonna type v at v equals to 0. So now they're just gonna clump on top of each other, which is what I wanted. But right now we don't have a p-scale. So let's type add p-scale, and we need to actually initialize this p-scale. I mean, we don't have to. Again, we had the same thing going on in our virus tutorial, but I like to initialize them. So I'm gonna come out here and I'm gonna say @sign p-scale equals to 0, because I wanted to start from 0 and I want to add to it. So we have our initialized attribute p-scale up here, and then in here I'm just gonna say @sign p-scale plus equals and give it a tiny value. For example, I think in my setup I used 0.01. I don't know. Let's stick to 0.01. And yeah, let's take a look. So they're gonna get extremely big. As you can see, this is not what we want. As we go forward, it's just gonna take the entire screen. So we're gonna clamp this and say @sign p-scale equals to clamp, and clamp is basically going to cut the values above or below a certain threshold. So we're gonna say @sign p-scale and clamp it between 0 and 0.02025, and you can just come to this clamp, hit F1, and it's gonna bring the Houdini's help window, and you can see we need a value, which is going to be our p-scale. We need a minimum and a maximum. It's a pretty simple expression. And as I play it, you can see they're clumping on top of each other. Looks awesome. I love it. All right, we're done with the popnet. I'm just gonna uncheck this burn from here. We don't need to see what's happening there. And let's get to the fun part. All right, I'm gonna copy some points in here. All right, so let's put down a box, and I'm gonna copy this box, CTP, to my points. As we play, you can see we're generating these boxes, and they're a little small, and we want to have intersections here. It makes it so much more interesting. So let's bring this value up. Now let me take a look at my own setup and see the size that I used in here. Yeah, that seems good. Let's manipulate the size a little bit. So like 1.5, 1.5 and 3. Okay, yeah, this looks good. And I'm also going to write a simple expression in here. Let's take a look at our box, and I'm going to set this to 1. When you're copying something into some points, let me actually put down a sphere in here. Let me explain it in action. So we have this sphere. I'm just going to copy some lines on top of it. And hit CTP. And as you can see, the orientation is not correct. The reason why it's not correct is because this is facing up. And for copy to points, we want to face it to the Z side. So Z axis. So let's do it like this. And when we copy it, you can see it's correct. Now, same thing goes for the everything that you're doing with copy to points. So we want to put this side of the box on the center. So I'm just going to come here and write a very simple expression. I'm basically going to copy this parameter. I'm going to come to the center and paste relative reference. And it's not going to do anything right now because there's a 0 in here. And it's going to move it to the side. But I want to move it half this amount, so it sits at 0.0.0. Now, as I increase the uniform value, scale, you can see it's going to change. So I'm just going to come here and copy this parameter as well. Come here, put down a asterisk sign, multiplication, and multiply this by this scale value. So now it's going to sit here. I can change the scale size and I can change the Z size, and it's going to be fine. And then as I copied it, they're going to sit on top of my geometry. Let me bring it on exactly like this. Now, if I hadn't done that, let me just bring a version of it in here. I'm just going to turn it into 0. And as I copy it, you can see half of it is going to be inside my geometry. And I don't want that. That's why I did it. It's not really important. As you can see, after this, we're going to actually randomize the scale. So randomize the orientation. So it's actually not that important. I just wanted to, you know, stay cleaner. And we have two ways in here. I like to use vex for this part, but if you don't want to do that, you can just put down an attribute randomize. Where's it? Rand, and just randomize the n again, as we've done before, and you can just use inside sphere, and this is fine. This is okay, but it's too randomized for my taste. Let me actually check that. Actually, let's, I'm going to select this, I'm going to select this. I'm going to use, what I did here, if you don't know, you can just select the nodes that you want to merge together. You can hold down Alt and you just do this, and they're connected. And you put down a merge node. It's very easy. And it's going to be very slow, I think. Yeah, it's not the best thing to do. Again, that's why I made my visualizer. I basically brought this node and just merged them together, and that was my visualizer. It's very simple. Let me just connect it to here. It's going to be very fast. Okay, yeah, this is good. And you can add color in here, so it's faster. But I don't want to do it like this. It's too randomized for me, and I actually want to use vex. So we're going to put down another angle. And we're going to use a function that I really like. I think it's very simple and it's very interesting. So I want to randomize the n, again, like as I did in here. But I want to randomize it the way I want it to. I don't want it to go too crazy. I just want it to wiggle around, you know, have some orientation changes, but I don't want it to be all over the place like this in here. If I connect it, this is too random for me. So I'm going to come here and say v at sign n, which is my normal, is equals to, we're going to use a new function, sample direction cone. I'm just going to put parentheses and hit F1. Let's take a look at our function. So sample direction cone takes a vector as the center, a max angle as a float, and a u, which is going to be a vector too. The u is going to be a random number. It's going to generate the direction for us. So let's fill this. As my center, I'm going to use the @n. I'm going to use a variable called max angle and a variable called u. And when I hit Control Enter to get out of this, we're going to get an error. It's because we didn't initialize these two. So let's come here and say float max angle. It's going to be equal to a channel. And let's just go with max angle. Now, this maximum angle in here, it's going to be in radians as defined by the Houdini documentation. So I'm just going to put down a radians function before that. After that, I'm going to come here, vector2, u, it's going to be equal to a random number based on my PT num. And I forgot to put down the sign. All right, let's create the channel, and as you can see here, it's set to 0, so we're not going to get any orientation changes. But as I increase this, you can see I'm actually randomizing it. As you can see, you have so much control in here. I kind of prefer this. Again, you can randomize other stuff in here, so let's actually do that. I'm going to disable that. I'm going to come here and type scale. Now, when you randomize scale, and I'm just going to set it to the default uniform, you're going to randomize everything. But I don't want to do that. I just want to randomize the Z direction. So I'm just going to go to my attribute randomize. I'm going to change this to 1 and 1, and they're going to be okay. And as you can see, as I increase this, we're going to get different values. So let's set this to 0.25, and maybe some randomizing here isn't that bad, actually. So yeah, we're getting randoms, and again, I bring this in, and yeah, we're done. Okay, actually, we're kind of done. We just have to scroll through our setup. I'm just going to set it to, like, I don't know, 24. Seems like a good place. I'm going to use a time shift, and we don't really need this margin here, and Control Shift left click, and we're stuck at frame 24. You can see I'm going to use again VDB from polygons. Let's go with this value, maybe lower, 0.05, probably even lower. Yeah, 0.003. Yeah, this is good. As SDF, as VDB smooth SDF. And let's bring this value down. Yeah, this looks good. And convert VDB. Right, good. Now, I am getting some crystals like these two, these ones that are not connected to my main geometry. So before actually converting this, I'm going to come here and I'm going to use a node called VDB segment by connectivity. And it's going to give me these colors. Now, it's also going to give me some groups, which I can use here. It's going to define a name attribute. Now, our biggest surface is going to be, if I come here, surface 0, then surface 1, surface 2, surface 3. So basically, you're going to take a look at the points here, and you have 5. So you want to put the 4 big, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the 5 biggest surfaces you have in here, and it's going to be 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. It's the first, these 5. I'm going to delete non-selected and go surface 0, surface 1, surface 2, surface 3, and surface 4. And we have our biggest shapes. If you just go with, I don't know, surface 5, you can see we're including this tiny thing in here, and we don't want that. So yeah, if you make any changes in your scatter node, for example, if you add like a 6th node in here, which is going to actually change everything in my setup, I shouldn't have done that. Doesn't matter. you have to come here and include that one in the setup as well. It's not that hard. Let me just do the popnet again. I'm just gonna change it back. And we're getting these colors. If you don't want to see the colors, you can just come to segment and uncheck these color segments. All right. I'm gonna add a group. Gonna call it Tiny Crystals group. And yeah, we're done. Just bring it in here. This is our shatter geo. I'm just gonna copy that here, say out tiny crystals. I'm gonna merge them together. And look at everything at once. All right, this looks good. I'm gonna put down a material node. Now we haven't made any materials yet. Let's just specify this, the first one to be for main geo group, and I'm gonna hit the plus, and I'm gonna come here and say tiny crystals. Right, this is good. I'm gonna add 2 color nodes. I'm just putting these down for visualization purposes, in case you want to create different materials. I'm just gonna make this one a dark red and make this one a light red, something like this. Set the first one to be working on main geo, and the second one to work on tiny crystals. Right, good. Let's make this like this. Yeah, this looks pretty good. I'm just playing around here. It doesn't really matter. Right. We're gonna come to our material, our matte builder. I'm gonna create 2 materials. I'm gonna name this one main geo, and I'm gonna call this one tiny crystals. Right. Let's come back to our material node. I'm gonna pick my main geo for, we're in tiny crystals. We're gonna pick tiny crystals, and we're gonna go to our main geo and pick the main geo material. All right, we're done with the setup. Next, we're gonna do the lighting, and then we're gonna do the shading. All right, so let's set up our scene. We're gonna need a camera. Let's pick a good angle. This seems good. Yeah, this is pretty good. All right, we're gonna hit control click on the camera. I forgot to lock my view. All right, so let's pick something like this. Also, I kind of wanna, okay, first of all, let's increase the resolution to 1080, and maybe let's go with 95. Yeah, in the focal length. Yeah, I like that. You can actually bring it down. It doesn't really matter. You can get a like a wide effect, but since this is probably going to be something small, let's use 95. Seems like a good number to me. Yeah, this is good. Okay, so again, we're going to use the same technique for the background. We're going to put down a grid. I'm going to unlock my camera. Come out. Gonna move this thing. It's parented to my the camera is the parent here, so if I move the camera, you can see the background is gonna move with it, so that's nice. Let's dive inside, increase the size, increase the rows, something like this. Again, add like a mountain. Same thing we did in our virus tutorial. Let's increase this, and yeah, this looks nice. Let's increase that. Yeah, something like that. Come up here, call it BG for background. Our redshift object, we're gonna go to tessellation and activate tessellation and displacement. Also, you can actually do that on our main object as well. We want to get high quality renders. You don't need to activate the tessellation because we already have a lot of polygons on our main object. Actually, 7 million. So it's good. Also, let's create the stone. I'm gonna make a sphere. I'm gonna call it stone. Before diving inside, let's again activate tessellation and displacement because I don't want to forget that. Let's make it bigger and bigger in this direction as well. Let's go with something like this. Okay, yeah, this is fine. We can use some VDB techniques here if you want to add more details. You can just use this, turn it into an ISO offset. Again, just adding some points, copying other spheres on top of it, and changing it to a very high quality VDB, and then bring it back to polygons, and then adding like a mountain noise, mountain stop. I'm just gonna use a mountain in here. Actually, maybe I should do that. Yeah, let's do that. Let's make it more interesting. So we're gonna scatter 25 points, for example. I'm gonna copy this sphere, make it a little smaller. Copy the points. Let's take a look. Attribute randomize. P-scale. Dimensions to 1, and we're gonna go with 0.5. Okay, this is good. We're gonna merge these two together. Alright, we're gonna VDB from polygons. Let's go with 0.01. Alright, we're gonna smooth this at VDB smooth SDF. We have to bring this to a very high value, so we're gonna go with Gaussian. It's gonna be aggressive. Let's go with 3 in the filter voxel radius, or 4 actually. Let's increase that to 5. Let's bring the iterations up. How would this look? Yeah, this is pretty good. You might wanna increase this to like 55 or something. Okay, yeah, this is nice. And again, turn this into polygon, convert VDB. Let's take a look. Maybe this is too much. Yeah, probably. You can go with like 2. Okay, yeah, this is good. And again, mountain. Maybe make the element size bigger. And something like that. Okay, yeah, this is nice. Let's take a look at our camera. Okay, can be better, but I think it's good for what we want to do here. You can also parent this to the camera, so it rotates with the camera. It doesn't really matter. It's fine. Yeah, let's do lighting. So we're gonna have a big light in the background. I don't like the space in here. Let's bring it back. Let's take a look. It's small now, so make it bigger. All right. Okay, this looks good. Let's put one huge light in the background. So we're gonna go to our redshift tab and we're gonna add our RS light. I'm gonna make it bigger because I wanna have a big rim light on my object. Go to RS light. I'm gonna place it, for example, in here. Gonna uncheck the visible. I don't want to see it in my render. I'm gonna call this rim. Yeah, let's take a look at the render right now. We assigned our materials here, I think, or yeah, we have. Let's also create a material for our background. And we're gonna go RS Matte Builder. Call it stone. We're gonna apply this material to this stone material and our background. It's gonna be like a cave or something. Let's take a look at our render. We're just gonna take a look at our rim light. I want to see how it would look. Let me bring my render view in here. I forgot to save. I hope I don't lose my file. Hopefully we didn't. Great. Let's just save it before we forget that. All right. Let's go to our camera. This is what we're seeing right now, and it's not the best rim light, so let's actually make it bigger. Okay, this looks nice as a rim light. Right, we need other lights here though. For example, light coming from this side, so another RS light. Let's zoom in. I forgot to like my camera again. And let's go with something like that on this side. And we're just gonna copy that. Go to the second one. We're gonna rotate. And we're gonna put it on this side as well. So, all right, this is good. This is our basic lighting setup. It's just I'm just gonna put one on top as well because I know I'm gonna enable volumetrics. So something like this. Let's look at it with an angle. All right, yeah, this is good. Now onto our materials. I'm just gonna save this. I'm gonna hit this lock button. I don't want to do that. We also need the light for the background before I forget that. Let's come here. Let's go to our background, an angle like this. I'm gonna hit our light again, put it here. Let's go to BG light. I'm gonna select everything, come to the light tab and check the visible. And let's place this one. Why is that part so dark? What's going on in here? Oh, the angle. It's the angle. Okay. Let's take a look at camera. It should be fine. Okay, yeah, it is. It was just a bug. All right. Yeah, everything seems good. We can tweak everything if we don't like it. I do have a little bit of problem with my stone, so I'm just gonna stop rendering. Put it down here. And yeah, let's change it. I don't like it. It's too smooth. Maybe adds a little bit more noise to the mountain. Why isn't anything happening here? Oh, I think I added the noise to the background. Did I? What's going on? It's weird. Nothing is happening. It's probably a bug. Okay, yeah, it's fine now. So yeah, okay, this looks better. Yeah, this is much better. And maybe you want to add a transform node in here as well. Just bring it, for example, a bit back, a little bit down, maybe rotate it. Okay, yeah, this is nice, much better. Go back, go to our angle. Yeah, I like that. Okay, this looks great. So let's do some shading. I love shading. It's awesome. Before doing that, I'm gonna enable the bokeh effect. Let's take a look at our image. Just want to make sure my angle is correct and I'm seeing everything. Where did my render view go? I think the scene is too heavy, so we might get a crash right about now. Let's hit render view again, see if it works. It does not, and I'm gonna crash. Okay, I'll be back after the crash. Okay, yeah, everything is fine. Let me activate my bokeh. I'm gonna sorry, I'm gonna focus on, let's say here. I'm gonna change this circle of confusion to 0.1 maybe. And yeah, everything looks great. Disable the bokeh and check this focus picker thingy. What's it called? Click to focus. Yeah, focus picker thingy sounds better. Render, we have stone, we have everything set up, and we set the material inside with the material node. All right, let's do shading. So we're gonna do some subsurface scattering, and subsurface might be hard a little bit if you're not used to it, but I'm going to try and explain everything as we go. So I'm going to come to my material and bring everything down, reflection, diffuse, everything. And we had a number in our refractive index. I think it was 1.542. Yeah, that's nice. I'm just gonna leave it at this. Let's activate our subsurface. So for activating that, you're gonna bring this scatter scale up. And as we bring this up, you can see we're getting something. This is our scattering effect. Now, right now, it's not that interesting. We want some color here. Now, there are two ways. You can use transmittance or extinction. Extinction is more physically correct. Let's take a look at it. Basically, what extinction does is it's going to take your color, whatever color you give it, for example, something like this, and it's going to use the complement of that. Basically, what happens is it's going to absorb this color, whatever you're putting in here, and it's going to give you the complement. You can stick to this, or you can just simply use transmittance. In this version, whatever color you put here, it's going to be reflected in here. So whatever you prefer, I'm just going to stick to extinction. We want to get this red effect, so I'm just going to bring it here. Let's use this. Actually, I think I'm changing the other one. Yeah, I was. All right, this looks pretty good. Let's play with our values a little bit. As you increase this, you can see you're getting more or less scattering. You can play with this extinction scale, and basically this is what's going to give us the look that we want. You can bring it up, and as you can see, it's going to get much more darker. You can play with this. As you make your extinction color darker, it's going to get lighter in here. It's a little weird. If it's too hard to understand, you can just stick to transmittance, and it's going to be much more simpler. For example, as you bring this value down, it's going to get lighter. It's going to be artist friendly. So whatever you want. Let's just use transmittance if it's simpler. And we're going to bring the absorption scale up. We can make this a very, very light red and just play with this absorption scale. So I kind of like this when I'm getting in here. Okay, so let's come here. We're gonna enable our reflections, and also we're gonna enable refractions. So this is what we're gonna get right out the box. The highlights in the background are a little distracting, so I'm just gonna come out here, gonna go to my stone. I'm gonna bring the roughness up. Yeah, and also on my tiny crystals, and bring the roughness up there as well. All right, let's look here. We're getting some of the shapes that we want. Actually looks kind of nice. I like this. Let's see. Let's play with this value a little bit more. Let's bring the scatter scale up. You can also play with the other parameters in here. For example, you can bring the roughness up. It's a more rough crystal, mineral, and I kind of like that. So let's bring this to here, for example. You can add like a tint to your reflection color. Let's see. Let's bring this value more up. And yeah, we're kind of getting the look that we wanted. This is the my render, and let's just compare it. The colors seem correct, but it's not as exciting. Why is that? It's because we want to make some parts non-refractive, just solid geometry. So RS material blender. All right, we're gonna use a material node in here. Let's take a look at this second one. I'm gonna make it something like this. Make it even darker. What else? Actually, let's change it a little bit, something like that. Yeah. Make it rough, very rough, and yeah, we're basically there. All right. Next thing we're gonna add here is some displacement, because this is just too smooth. RS displacement. We're gonna connect displacement to displacement. We're gonna use a tiny value, like 0.05 maybe. Let's save it. We're gonna use a max on noise, and I'm just gonna connect this max on noise in here. In my own setup, I think I used Booyah. Yeah, I used Booyah. Let's take a look at the Booyah noise without connecting it here. Let's just see how it's gonna look. We're gonna change the scale, we're gonna manipulate it, and when we're happy, we're gonna use that for driving this material blender, and also we're gonna use it for the displacement. So it's gonna look nice. Let's add some octaves here. And let's stretch it in this direction. Yeah, I like that. And let's make the overall noise even bigger. Okay, yeah, this is nice. This is really nice. I'm gonna use that for driving my blend node and connect it to the surface. Let's see how it's gonna look. Maybe it's a little dark, so I have to increase that. I'm not sure. Let's just take a look at everything combined together. So let's connect our displacement and see how it looks. I don't know if you can hear it, but my PC is going crazy, making a lot of noises. Let's see. Kind of looks nice. I'm still not really happy with the values I put in here. Also, I'm not very happy with my lighting, so I might change that. I might add a increase the size for which one? For the one on the right side. Let's name them. So this is gonna be our key light. The one on the left side is, yeah, let's make it our fill light. So I have to increase the size on this one and increase the intensity on the key light. This is the light from top, so this is the volumetric light, so we're gonna call it vol. The key light, we're gonna bring it closer to our object. Let's see. I'm gonna add a little bit of intensity in here. Okay. Fill light, we're gonna make it bigger. Oof, not minus. 2.3. All right, yeah, we're getting there. Okay, now it's starting to look good. So, fill light. Let's bring it to this side. All right, let's make it bigger. Let's bring it back, not make it bigger. Let's bring it to the side. Yeah. I'm also thinking maybe I should make this one my key light, because let's, instead of doing that, I'm just gonna call this one left and I'm gonna call this one right. Whichever is the key light, it's the key light. All right, so make the right one a little bigger as well. All right, yeah, I like this. I'm just gonna hold control down and let's take a look at here. I don't like what's happening in here, so let's bring the displacement down to 0.025. You can actually just, instead of using the noise like this, use another noise. Instead of using the same one as you're putting in your blend color. I don't understand what's going on in here. I think, let's see what's going on there. Where are we? It's here in the center. Oh, that's not from, okay, yeah, that's fine. Okay, yeah. All right. This looks fine. I just noticed it's sticking out. Our background is not covering everything, so I'm just gonna make it a little bigger. And there we go, it's fine. All right. Our scene is a little empty and doesn't really look nice right now, so let's work on the stone, and after that we're gonna go to the tiny crystals. All right, so for this material, it's pretty simple. It's just a bunch of noise connected to each other, so let's make this one darker, something like this. All right, we need to increase the light on the background. It's too dark right now. Yeah, let's put down a material blender. Copy this. Connect it here. And max on noise. Let's look at the noise. I'm gonna use FBM probably. Yeah, FBM looks nice. Let's make it bigger. Let's also some parts of it. Bring the low clip up. Make it a little bigger. Yeah, something like that. Now let's add some colors. So let's connect this one, the second material. Let's see, make it dark brown or something. How would this look? Yeah, it actually looks kind of nice. So let's see everything together. Okay, it's starting to look more interesting. We're gonna keep doing that. Let's also add a little bit of a bump here. So I'm just gonna use this maximum noise that I have. I'm gonna use a RS bump map, connect it not to overall color, connect it to bump input, maybe play with the value. I don't know. We're gonna have to take a look. Let me just update my scene. Hopefully Houdini won't crash. Okay, yeah. I think I need to add some contrast in here because it's just too much. I'm just losing material that I had. Something like this, probably. Our scene is a little heavy, so I might have to go back to my mineral and just bring it down. Since I'm recording, it's getting so slow. Yeah. Yeah, that looks fine. I'm also going to just keep doing that. Yeah, let's add another material in here, matte, and another max on noise. Let's check the max on noise individually. Let's see what we're doing there. Actually, yeah, instead of a max on noise, let's use a curvature node. I think it's gonna look nice. Let's see. Let's go with 0.01. Too much. 0.025. Good. Maybe actually a little bit more. 0.35. Okay, yeah. And just connect it here. We're gonna use this to create some highlights probably in the color. I actually kind of liked what we're having here. This white color, I just don't like the reflection, so let's bring it up. I'm gonna make it even whiter, something like that. Yeah, that's actually very interesting. I like that. Now our background is just too dark right now, so let's take a look at the light. Which one was it? It was this one. BG light, yeah. Make it a little bigger. Okay. I think I also disabled the bokeh effect, yeah. So we can activate it right now. Yeah, things look pretty good. Make it even bigger. Yeah, this looks kind of nice. I like that. You can play with the color as well. Activate our bokeh. Since we wanna look at our final image. Looks good. I like it. Let's work on our tiny crystals. So tiny crystals are pretty simple. It's basically the same workflow. We're just gonna create a refractive material and just increase the subsurface values here. I'm just gonna bring the diffuse value down. And let me save it before bring this value down as well. Let's see, what can we do here? Let's just enable our scatter, and I want to make these parts, oh, not that much. Let's bring it down. I still want them to be red, but I don't want them to be like this. This is too much. This is too dark. I want these to be lighter. I'm also going to enable more refraction because it's a crystal. Maybe also enable my reflection. We can just judge everything together. I'm gonna create a selection in here, and let's take a look at this part. Something like this. Okay, some color to it. Maybe play with this absorption scale. You can bring it all the way up and have like very shiny parts in here. Kind of want to keep it a little bit down. Let's see. Maybe bring the scatter scale up. As you can see, as you bring the scatter scale up, you're moving your basically the subsurface, and it's gonna have different results here. Okay, yeah, this looks kind of nice. I like that. If you increase that, it's gonna make it darker. The absorption scale. Let's leave it at something like this, and in IOR I'm gonna increase it to 1.6. All right, let's take a look at everything together. I'll let it render for a little bit and see how things look. I don't like this part, it's too dark. I need to add some color in here also. Maybe I should increase this value for the subsurface scattering on my main geo here as well. Yeah, let's do that. Bring it up. Bring this value down a little bit. Okay, yeah, this looks better. Somewhere like here, maybe. The booyah noise, let's just offset it. All right, let's change the lighting a little bit. I want to have more highlights in here. So in my volumetric light, I haven't activated that, so let's take a look at that one. We're going to go to our redshift. Before doing that, let's go to redshift tab. In system, I'm going to enable automatic sampling and optics RT on supported GPU. Global illumination, I forgot to enable that. So actually, before activating the volumetric scattering, let's take a look at our global illumination. And it's actually going to help a lot, I think. My Houdini is so slow today. I don't know why. I'm just gonna take a screenshot from what we have right now. Let's set it to render for a couple of seconds. All right, that's enough. Let's enable brute force, and let's take a look. Actually not getting that much of a different image out of it. Okay, let's edit the light. I don't like it. When it comes to rendering, especially with subsurface, you have to play with everything and just change everything, make it bigger, make it smaller, change the angle, that sort of stuff. I'm just gonna bring this one closer. And we are getting something. starting to look interesting. I want to increase the intensity. Also, before I forget again, I want to include volumetric scattering here. Let's go to my light. I'm gonna increase the contribution scale. All right, we're getting somewhere. I'm gonna bring the spread angle down. Okay, yeah. I mean, it's very different with what I had in my setup, but I kind of like it. Let's do it like this. Right. We have to play with our values a little bit more. Set it to here. I'm not seeing my cracks in here, so I might have to render this, let it render a full render and look at my cracks in here. I'm getting something in here, but I don't really like that. It doesn't look as good. I also don't like this orange. I'm gonna change that. Not tiny. Main geo. Material, let's make it darker. Let's go with something like that. All right, looks better. Main geo, material. I'm gonna play with this value, the absorption scale, and bring it up. I'm also going to go to my background light, the rim light, increase the scale a little bit more. Maybe I shouldn't have brought this scatter, the volume light in here, so let's just bring it up. Let's see. It's starting to look better. I still prefer my own version over this. I also don't know, for some reason we're not getting as much details in here, so let's take a look. It's just too bright. I don't like that. I actually think the resolution is too much on the main geometry, so I'm just gonna pause my rendering. I'm gonna come here. Where did I set that up? Will it be from polygons? Yeah, this is a little bit much, so let's go with 0.01. I think it's gonna look better. All right, let's smooth it. Zero 0.75 maybe. Yeah, probably this is gonna look better. Also, maybe just play with these, because might need more. And change the center. All right, let's take a look now. Seems pretty good. I'm just gonna increase this value because I feel like maybe we had too much breakup in our section, in our geometry. Wow, this is getting too long, this video. Well, it's fine. We're gonna just wait for it, and let's turn it into a VDB. This looks good. Let's take a look at our shatter. It's gonna take a while. Alright, so maybe actually, let's take a look inside. maybe we need more grids here for the shatter. Again, it's gonna take a while to do that. All right. Let me take a look on the inside. Right now, it might be actually too much. I don't know. Let's come here. Let's simulate our object. Let it go for like 24 frames or something. Yeah, good. Turn it into VDBs. Okay. Let's see how it looks right now. I'm not happy with my lighting setup. I think... Oh. Why is this thing looking at my background? I don't understand. Didn't I set it to look at my object? I mean, it's not gonna be very important, but it's weird. And why is it minus side? It's weird. Alright. Yeah, I realized what happened. I had turned it to a small number on the minus side and it was rotating towards the object. Alright. I'm just gonna disable all these lights, especially the volumetric. I don't want to see that. Let's hit render again and see how they look. You also need displacement on the tiny crystals, so don't forget that. Okay, yeah, it's actually starting to look much better. Let's go to this material. I'm gonna bring this value down to something like this. Looked a little weird. Yeah, it's starting to look much better. All right. What else can we do here to improve the setup? Maybe increase the displacement. Let's take a look at our displacement here very quick. I think I have to make it bigger. Kind of these parts don't look really nice. Something like that. Let's just change the offset. Yeah, I think this is gonna look better. Maybe increase the set scale as well. Let's see. Oh no. No. What if we do it like this? Might actually be fun. It is not. It is not fun. Okay, yeah, let's just go with this one. And connect this. Gonna take a look at my subsurface again. Let's play with the values a little bit more. I'm still not happy with what I'm getting. Maybe make it brighter. Some saturation here. Bring this value down. The tiny crystals look really nice here, so I really like that. I'm still not the biggest fan of these ones, so I might actually remove them altogether. You can keep playing with your stone. You can keep playing with your setup. I'm still not getting the cracks. I don't know why. They don't look as good. Let's go to the roughness. Let's bring the roughness down a little bit. Maybe bring the reflection weight as well. can actually add your diffuse. It doesn't really matter at this point. You can make it like a dark value, like a red value, something like this, just in case if you're getting any reflection. You can increase this color, change it to something with like a red tint. Starting to look better. Maybe too red, so bring it down. Maybe less scattering. Look better. All right. This doesn't look good. I don't like it. I have to figure it out. Give me a couple of seconds and I will be right back. Alright, so I changed a bunch of stuff and it looks much better now. I'm getting the result that I wanted. I'm getting these cracks in here. They look nice. I'm gonna show you what I did. First of all, I changed the lighting a little bit. It's basically the most important thing. I brought this rim light excuse me. I brought the rim light closer. I also changed the angle on my lights. I disabled this volumetric light. I also rotated this light for the background. It looks much better now. I also changed the material in the stone. I added this second color layer to the first node. Basically, this is what I'm getting out of it if I just connect it directly to my output. I added these tiny color changes here. One of them is this grayish tone. One of them is this one. Has kind of a little bit of orange in it, very dark orange. Then I just add them into my material blender and it looks kind of nice. It's very different than what I had in my render, but this one is actually more physically correct because if you take a look at our references, they are the Villiaumite actually sits on lighter stones. I don't know what the term for it is. I just looked at our references. Let me bring the reference back. Yeah, if it's something like this. As you can see, they're lighter. So yeah. Also, I played with the absorption scale here. I brought the reflection down a little bit. I brought this value up. I changed it into a another hue of red. I think this is kind of like what I had in my setup. I'm still not happy about the boxes. I feel like there are too much happening here and I don't really like them. I'm going to go back to my setup and play with those a little bit. But we are kind of done. Like this is our setup. We can just add the bloom effect on top of it. Bring this value up. Bring this threshold down. And you can see this reflection is not very good. So we have to play with the lights again. It's kind of a back and forth. You have to fix everything, then something else breaks. You have to fix that. I think the rim light is causing that. So let's just go to the rim light and let's give it an angle like this. Maybe it's not actually. see if I look up. Okay, yeah, it is. Let's change it. Let's bring it to somewhere like here. Maybe something like this. In all honesty, if it's actually too much, first of all, you can come to your rim light here, go to objects, and just exclude the stone object. So this hat symbol, and we're gonna say stone. Am I recording? Yeah. And we exclude that, but I think it makes it a little, weird to look at the light. And right now it's actually much more realistic. You can also go to your geo, go to your stone, and for example, this one, bring the reflection weight down, this one as well. I mean, technically you won't be getting so much reflection out of stone, so this is actually better. Yeah, something like this. It is starting to look better. I feel like we need a light from this angle. Also, maybe rotate this to something like this. The rim light is probably going to give us better results. Yes, maybe bring it a little bit back, like this. Let's see. I'm just gonna disable bloom for now. I'm gonna enable it later. Right, let's go to our light on the right side. I'm gonna bring it back. Yeah, make this part a little darker. It looks much better. How about the left side? Bring this one back a little bit as well. Maybe rotate it a little bit towards the front. Yeah, okay. The PG light. Okay. Where is it? It's this one. Let's make it a little bigger. Okay, yeah, that's nicer. What else? What else? We still have this light coming from top. I have disabled it, but I can re-enable it. And we can add some volumetrics in here. It's up to you if you want to keep it that way or not. You can also add some temperature. Make it something like this. Kind of looks nice. Let's set this thing to render. And let's see the results. If we don't like it, we can just change everything again. I do want to change the tiny crystals and actually bring this value up because I feel like maybe it's too much. They look too much like a square. Yeah, let's bring that up. Also, I did forget to include yeah, this is much better. I forgot to add the displacement for our tiny crystals, so let's just bring it in here. I'm gonna connect it like that. I'm gonna change the offset. Yeah, this is good. And bring the value down. 0.05 is too much. 0.02 maybe. Okay, let's go back to our mineral. I still don't like these shapes. I think we have too much boxes. So, like too much visible boxes, that's the problem. So I'm just gonna come here and add 1,000. I think it's gonna get fixed. Also, let's give this one to 1. Yeah, this is better. I think it's better. I'm just gonna save it. I'm gonna go to my final node. I'm gonna let it cook. Okay, let's take a look now. I think it looks better. I'm not sure. I have to check my render. You might want to consider making these cubes taller. Right now they're too uniform, so maybe we need to do that as well. Let's take a look. As you can see, it's just a back and forth. You have to keep editing things and then just go back, change something else. Your setup goes crazy. You have to bring everything back. It's a fun back and forth. I like it. It's interesting. Let's see. Yeah, this one looks pretty good to me. So let's take a look at our setup, our angle here. Might want to actually change the, where is it? The seed. Oh, that's nice. This is also nice. Yeah, we should have done this earlier. Okay, yeah, I like this. This is much better. Again, we're gonna come here, go to our PubNet. We're gonna let it cook. So slow. But this one was nice as well. I kind of liked it. Alright, yeah, this is definitely better. This is what I had in mind. Let's play this. 24. We don't need the rest of it. Let's take a look. I don't like that. Oh, we grouped it. Let me see. Yeah, this is nice. This is pretty good. Let's also do the shattering. Again, it's gonna take some time. Okay. And our final. Oh, the time shift. The time shift is still making the old one. We're just gonna have to disable and re-enable it. The time shift was set to the previous setup. Okay. Yeah, this is pretty good. I like that. Take a look at the. I really like the rock here. Looks fantastic. Let's take a look at our render. Yeah, this is nice. This is very nice. I liked it. We have our main shape here. We have our crystals scattered here. We have displacement on top of them. I think, did I enable it? Yes, it's enabled. I added displacement here as well. Tiny bit of displacement. In all honesty, maybe I need more on my main geo. I think it's not enough. Let's see. It's actually set to 0.1. Should be enough. I have a feeling I'm not actually getting the displacement. I don't know why. Let me test this. 0.5. Okay, we are getting the displacement, but it's very tiny. It kind of looks cool though. Let's go with 0.2. It's probably because of this noise that we have in here. Maybe we should add a little bit of a cycle to it. A little bit more. Oh, this is not nice. I don't like this. Okay, yeah, this is much better. I'm gonna bring the scale down. Okay, yeah, this is good. 0.075 maybe. It is a little too much in here. Let's just play with this. Go back to 0. Have a look in here. Maybe Booyah is not the best noise here. Let's go with FBM. Let's see how that might look. Bring this value up. The low clip. Okay. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna keep this one for my displacement, and I'm gonna copy it and create another one for my material blend. I'm just gonna use the same Booyah that I had there. I think I'm getting the displacement now. It's starting to look better. Let me have a look. Maybe actually switch them, so or not. Yeah, I think it's starting to look much better now. 0.1. Let's have a look. Let's not distort it that much. Let's go with 25. See? It's starting to look better. Let's go with 10. Yeah, I think this is gonna look nice. I'm just gonna let it render, and if it was good, then it's good, and if it wasn't, we're gonna keep editing it. Okay, so I let that one render, and I was still not happy with the results, so I just deleted every material and set it up from scratch again. It is the same technique, so I'm just gonna walk you through the materials. And this thing is being rendered as we speak, and we can take a look at what's happening. The setup for the main material is still the same. The only thing I changed is I actually included another Maxon noise here for the reflection roughness. I think it actually helped a lot with our setup, especially adding these highlights here and there. They actually look really nice. We were missing that in our original setup. And again, I'm just using a simple material for my second material here with a reflection set, roughness set to 1. I didn't change anything on this material. I added the Maxon noise. I used the Booyah with a overall scale of 10 and a scale of 100 in the Y value and a displacement of 0.05. I think it looked really good. Let's take a look at our subsurface in our main material. By the way, I brought the IOR back to 1.5. It was fine. I'm just using a transmittance color with this value. You can just copy these values. Absorption scale of 36.1. I play with it, and this one seemed better. And a scatter scale of 0.31. And the setup looked really good. As you can see, it's actually very similar to the original render that I had. For the second material, I used the same technique. I just used a transmittance color. Again, very near red, but not quite there. Very light color. I brought the absorption scale down. It's not as high as the other geo, and a scatter scale of 0.55. And that's it. I played a little bit with the lighting again. And yeah, that's it. This light, again, it's facing the other side. I don't know why. I'm just gonna change it. I think it's gonna stop the rendering, I think. Or maybe not. I think it's fine. Yeah, and we're gonna wait until the render is ready. Again, you have to play with the values. You can just replicate what I have in here, and you might still have to play with it, because if you change one tiny thing when you're working with subsurface, everything is gonna look different. I would encourage you to play with other shapes, other setups. You can instead of doing it like this, you can just use one cube and make it very long, and then copy them on top of each other. They're gonna look really nice. And just use one floating crystal. It's gonna look nice. It's gonna be good. And yeah, we're gonna wait until this render finishes. We can also include the bloom from here. The value is too big. Bring it down. We're getting this highlight in here, so if you don't want to have that, just don't enable that. Maybe play with the lighting a little bit more so you get better results there. Clearly the light that's coming from the right side is affecting that part of the geometry, so just maybe play with that, make it smaller, make it bigger, see which one works better. Alright, I'm just gonna end it here. We're gonna wait for this render to finish, of course. I'm gonna include that in the tutorial, and yeah, that's it. See you soon. And it's finally done. Wow, this was a very long tutorial, but I think it was worth it. And we finally finished this. I really like the colors here. I really like these cracks. They look so real. And you can just use some color lookups. There are some great ones in here. For example, like this one looks nice. Also, maybe this one. I really like that. This one looks really nice. Depending on your taste and the color palette that you're going for. Of course, you can use different colors. I kind of wanted to go with red, but it's up to you. Let's go with I'm just gonna go back to one of the first ones. I kind of like this one. I'm gonna bring the strength down. You can do some color corrections in here. You can do some exposure, photographic exposure. For example, I don't know, increase the shutter time ratio, something like this. Maybe 12. 12 is too much. I don't know, 9. You can add some vignetting. You can start crushing the blacks if you want. I'm just gonna turn it off. I don't want to do that. You can include bloom. I'm not the biggest fan of this highlight in here, so you might want to redo that part. Increase this. increase the softness. Yeah, maybe something like this. I don't know. You can also include streaks. Might look nice, especially if you're like going with a very clear mineral. It might actually be really nice. And yeah, that's it. We're done. We're just going to save this, and I'm gonna end the tutorial here. I'm going to include all the mistakes I made along this tutorial, because I think you need to see that. I think it's actually really helpful to see the actual process, like going back and forth, editing the values. I could have just easily used my pre-made setup, the one I already had, but I think this works better. Actually seeing what's happening here and judging it as we go forward and just changing values. I am going to include this HIP file. You can just download it, follow along. I will include the new materials, these two. You can just use them if you want. We don't need that. And yeah, if you make anything using this setup, please let me know. I'd love to see your results. And yeah, that's it. Thank you for joining me here today, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye bye.